Okay, Neil. So surely if there's more batteries than there are frequency response services in megawatts,
Yeah.
then the market is saturated. No?
Well, yeah, what you've just said is obviously true.
Yep.
But what we're seeing is that the markets aren't saturated.
Okay.
So even though there's 15,500 megawatts of battery capacity in the UK, and frequency response markets, in terms of volume needed, basically never go above 1,400. But that's installed capacity, and that's not the capacity that's actually available to take part in frequency response markets, which we'll call active capacity for the purposes of this conversation.
Okay.
So basically, there are about 200 meg of battery capacity doing other things. They're not able to do frequency response. That's testing, could be behind the meter activities. So you've got to take a 200 meg haircut at any time, really. If you track
So there's
assets.
1.5 gigs of batteries, but 200 megawatts less than that are actually taking part in frequency response.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
And then on top of that, because of the ESO's rules around state of charge management, when you provide any of those dynamic services symmetrically, you've also then got to derate assets to get to the real amount of what they're actually allowed to.
Which is why people are bidding into DR and DM at less capacity than the actual capacity of the battery.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah.
And so not only have you got this 200 meg haircut, you've then also got these derating factors. So what you actually see is that your active capacity, that capacity that's available to take part in frequency response markets, is actually quite considerably smaller than that 1,500
Than it looks
meg.
at the start.
Yes.
And at the moment, National Grid's buying more frequency response than that number.
Yeah.
So markets aren't saturated, and that is partly why we've still got these really high prices, right?
Yeah, exactly. We saw massive DC revenues in June. And yeah, my guess would be a large part of that is the undersaturation of the
And so when do markets become saturated? When is there going to be more active capacity of batteries than frequency response requirement?
Well, according to our calculations, if the installed capacity at the moment remains the same,
Yeah.
probably looking October, November, and at which point, right, winter's coming, we're going to see these huge wholesale prices, there's going to be revenue opportunities elsewhere, and so it's probably not the biggest worry in the world. However,
That's a very convenient coincidence.
Yes.
That as soon as frequency response is saturated, we're going to have this winter, which is going to be balmy.
exactly, but if we actually follow what we think might get built out and installed,
Because people are going to build batteries between now and then.
yes, then, you know, worst case scenario, we're probably looking at the market being saturated August, September.
Okay, so pretty soon.
Pretty soon.
Weeks.
Yeah,
Weeks,
but
weeks to a couple
weeks, months, but it depends what comes online
Yeah.
and what's operational.
Yep, and how cold it is around that time.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. So the big headline is, well, the elephant in the room is that markets aren't saturated, even though they look saturated, but we're not far away just yet.
Exactly that.
Cool. Thanks.
Thanks, Keir.